still coming out on Wednesday?
Just got anything to do with it. It was all really
Wednesday night.
crap. I should have brought the old.
You make your way round there, guys and girls.
Do you know you had that many mates?
Carry on.
Shit, I just had Paul Fabman, right? And it signed the card.
You can move round if you want to. I'm going to do him in that direction.
Wouldn't be the first time.
Right, folks, welcome to Richie's big send-off. At the tender age of 66, and the oldest man on the section, I might add, he's decided to retire. He's been 26 years at Martin Baker's and has completed a total of 49 years in engineering. I'll have a quick spin through his history prior to Martin Baker's. He started his apprenticeship in 1968 at Shelvoke and Drury as a mechanical engineering technician. And they manufactured dust carts and later on fire engines, I think, wasn't it, Rich?
Yeah.
I did manage to find some old photographs of Rich when he was there. When he was an apprentice, he was soon snapped up to try out some of the firefighting.
I still got it outfit.
I mean, you guys are
Yes, we've heard.
can recognise the legs. They haven't changed a lot. And then he found his way into the sort of design teams, and these are some of his early efforts. You know, this is Rich validating one of the fire engines. He's still got that hat, by the way. Pub with him, you'll recognise that. This was one of his favourite designs, but apparently the first bloke used it, and there he is. He fell off the ladder, unfortunately. But remember that one, Rich? Yeah. So, anyway, after he only started there, he finished his apprenticeship at, I think it was a printing machine manufacturer called Shanbon, or Shambolic, I think.
Shambles.
And then he subsequently worked various design draftsmen and tool design draftsmen at CAVs, a long while at CAVs, Rakel Automation Limited, Thorney MI Optics Division. Name Rich, I think the optics were probably those types. Rakel Automation, Ferranti Subsea Limited, working on hydraulic assembly junction boxes, is that right? And Boots Products Limited, they made decorative lighting. Rich was a press tool designer there. And then he decided to go as a contract draftsman. He worked for an agency called Digital, I think, which I think is still around, isn't it? And it was then in 1992 that Rich came to Martin Baker and joined up in the tool design section, which then consisted of the three Ronnies, Ron Barnes, Ron Gilbert and Ron Chater, and yours truly. Ron Barnes ran the section in those days, and he was a nice fella, but he didn't suffer fools greatly. He had a long list of sayings such as, "You're as much use as a chocolate teapot," and stuff like that, isn't he, Rich? But Rich soon won him over and he settled in nicely. I found that Rich and I had common interests, which were sport, music and pubs, and we soon became firm friends. However, Rich has had one other lifelong interest, the ladies. But that's a longer and different story, so I'll miss that one out. This was in the days of Medusa, when we were, and Medusa was a 2D drafting package, and in those days we used to work in the black hole, which was over there.
I remember that.
It was so cool because the quality of the VDUs meant that in those days we had to be kept in the dark. Nothing's really changed. It was not long before Rich was getting involved in all the sports and social activities of Baker's. Anyone who has competed with Rich will agree that he was and still is a good all-round sportsman. With Rich in our five-a-side side, in the company five-a-side competition, we were the football champions for some years, PD. along with Mark Taylor and Mark Eagles and a few other faces that are long gone. I think we only ever lost one game, and that was on a corner, I think.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
And this was in the days when football was a contact sport. We were playing against teams with names such as Win at All Costs. I don't know if Kevin Breakspear is here, but that was his side. And so it was no wonder that injuries, bookings and sending offs were plentiful. As well as playing football, Rich also managed one of the Martin Baker sides. I think that was the Sunday team, wasn't it, Rich?
Yes, it was, yeah.
And until recently, he's organised a football practice on a Wednesday evening. And despite his double heart bypass, he could still hold his own with the youngsters. However,
It's true.
all right, you're ahead of me. However, Rich has never believed in fancy sporting equipment. He's used the same old set of golf clubs for over 40 years. I believe he bought his infamous 2-wood off of Henry Cotton. It really is made of wood, and for those who play with him, the whipping around the head sort of dangles down, and we claim it's illegal because I'm sure he uses it as a wind director. It's not very often that he does nick one down the middle. I also remember his tennis racket. It was more like a shopping bag than a tennis racket. It was sort of a bit like playing a bloke in lacrosse or something, you know. And apparently Richard's CV states that in 1986 he'd run in the London Marathon and finished. Well, I reckon that it was in the days that the race started at 10 o'clock, and if it had not been for the pubs opening between midday and 2 o'clock on a Sunday, his time might have been a lot better. Anyway, I know I speak for many of us who have enjoyed the numerous fun things that Rich has organised over the years. Golf trips, football matches, curry nights, coach trips, race days, parties, boat trips, whitewater rafting, powerboat racing, pop concerts, barbecues, and an awful lot of piss-ups, which usually ended with Richie conducting raucous sing-songs. He's always known as he was always up conducting. And I don't think there can't be many London pubs that we haven't been in, and quite a few that we've been shut out. We were once in a tiny Marylebone pub which had an upright piano, and a group of singers stood around it, singing old music hall favourites, but they were taking themselves a bit seriously. I looked around to find Rich had joined them. The problem was that he was doing a very bad Michael Jackson impression, trying to moonwalk, clutching his nether regions and shouting, "Ow, I'm bad!" We didn't stay long in that pub. On another occasion, a bunch of us were in an old London pub that still had snob screens, and for those of you who don't know what they are, these are little wooden screen rooms that subdivide the main bar, and in Victorian times they were supposed to give you a bit of privacy. Anyway, before I knew what was happening, Rich had his socks off and shoved them over his hands and was doing an impromptu puppet show for the rest of the pub. They were not amused, and it was time to leave. Don't forget that Rich has been engineering in the days before electronic calculators and computer design packages. In those days you stood at a drawing board pushing a pencil, using the tools of your trade, T and set squares, pencil bows, compasses and trammels, all of which you had to buy yourself. You could tell an individual's drawing at a glance by the man's style, and you spent half your time doing reams of calculations using log and trick tables, and you can recognise another draftsman by the calluses on his forefingers and his middle finger. You joined the Draftsmen's Union and you sneered at detailers and tracers. However, although Rich always kept pace and embraced the ever-changing design technology, he seems to have a knack of finding programming bugs on any new system. A frustrated shout of I don't get it, could be heard echoing around the section as Rich unearthed the latest Haynerism, as we began to call them. Despite his exasperations with modelling and drafting systems, Richard's friendly wit and patience made him an ideal mentor for countless work experience kids that have passed through the section. Rich has a talent for maths and English, and he was the man on the section you could trust to check your calculations and proofread your reports, and in my case, correct my spelling and grammar. You can probably tell he hasn't checked this for me. Anyway, Rich will be greatly missed on the section, not only for his tool design knowledge, but mainly for his real good humour and his cheerful personality. Thanks, Rich.
All right.
I know Rich, I'm sure he's got something to say, but there's a couple of things we need to give you. Dave, wherever he, oh there he is.
I'm over here.
Dave has worked really hard over the last couple of weeks to organise a card which good old Mark Taylor, unfortunately can't be here, has done for you. So if you want to have a look through that, you need to read that, and then the illustration will make some sense, I think.
I don't remember.
And Dave, you've got the collection for him, I believe.
It's,
Oh, it's over here.
I hope.
Okay. Right now, the fellas in the tool room got together and have, and Jivy has, and the guys have made a little present for you.
Oh, no.
Yeah, to throw it
One of
further,
these
you can hit it.
golf balls, so it's Brian, where are you, Lee? He's probably sobbing. And then we've got, there was I must say, that, you know, you can see the number of people are here. Rich is clearly a very popular guy, and and with Dave's hard work and what have you, raised nearly £200 as a present for him. We haven't spent all of that, but I knew you needed a golf trolley. So that's one of the new three-wheel golf trolleys. You know, as you get to Rich's age, you can't carry anymore. And, it's an umbrella holder for you as well to go with that. And then there's
You need that tomorrow.
is that the rest of the collection in there today?
No.
Oh no. There's some personal presents in there.
Well, that's all.
And somewhere is the rest of the collection. So,
How'd you use it? Oh, hold on.
I'll hand you over to Rich.
Thank you for a lovely speech. Thank you very much. Well, there's a lot of people there. It's quite difficult to talk in front of a big audience. I'm not used to talking in public, unless there's a judge there and a jury. It's quite difficult. But thank you all for coming today, for taking the effort to come. Jeff's covered most of my work in life. I suppose the only thing to talk about is the hobbies and things I'm going to do when I'm retired. Well, I don't know where to start, really. I don't know where to start. Swimming, yeah, swimming. Other hobbies are bird watching. I play a wind instrument. We've already had that, haven't we, with the 2 wood. What else am I going to do? Carry on seeing the guys on a Tuesday for football. I shall get in touch and be around for that. Golf on a Friday.
And a Wednesday night.
and a Wednesday night. All right, Mark. What else? I don't know. Oh, Jeff's, if he continues to do his pub crawls, I'll be involved in that hopefully. What can I say about pub crawls? I've been on so many. I'll tell you a story about the time I was at the bar.
Where's Bill? Bill knows this one.
He went to the bar.
I went to the bar to buy and I remember going up to the bar and standing there, and the barman said, anything else? And I said to him, I'm just thinking what to have next. So I looked over his shoulder at all the optics. And he said to me, about this time of night, you normally have a red wine. So I said to him, really? I said, do I come into this pub that often? And he said, or you have a brandy and coke. And I said, I do come in. The scary thing about it's not my local. That's frightening. What else have I got? Oh, free travel. I get free travel on just to let you know. So I should be doing a lot of that into London. What else? There's another story about a young lady who texted me, and I didn't know who it was, and she texted me some message about she wanted to borrow my photocopier because she wanted to make some copies of some prints, and it was just it just came over as Susan from Susan. And I thought, I don't know any Susan, can't think who Susan is. Because normally if I get a text from a woman, it's usually I don't want to see you anymore.
True.
Or it's not working. And I always worry about the it's not working. What's that mean? Anyway, going back to the story, I got a text saying about wanting to borrow my photocopy, and I thought, Susan, I don't know any Susan. And then I text, I thought, well, Susan, I don't know Susan. So I thought, oh, well, never mind. She wants to borrow my photocopy. So I text back saying, is it the Rude Pictures again? Because I didn't know who it was, so I thought I'd just have a little bit of fun. And she said, you're joking, aren't you? And that was it. A week later, she's texted me again. And said, Richard Louise. And I thought, she's already got mixed up with a couple, and I'm the Richard in that couple. So she said, Eamon can't bring the stuff around on Tuesday, he can only bring the stuff around Wednesday because it's a postal van and he can't carry stuff that he's not supposed to. So I thought, oh, I know who it is now, it's Eamon who used to play football with, it's his girlfriend. She's obviously got me mixed up with this Richard. So I've texted back and said, if you deliver it on Tuesday, I'll have to blow the dolls up again. I'll go down by Wednesday. So finally she's texted me back and said, sorry? And I've texted back and said, it's Richard from football. She said, oh, I see the confusion now. I was trying to get in touch with my priest. His name's Richard. So she said, I see the confusion now. So I texted her back and said, look, don't worry about it, it's fine. I said, I'll tell the father as soon as he comes out the shower. And I've never heard from her since. That actually happened. Anyway, the last thing to say is that I'm leaving a lot of friends and good people here, people I've known for a long time. And the youngsters that are coming through, I think, are really bright. I think they're the future of the company. You know, they look really good. That this company will progress and go forward, I think. So it's looking good for the future. I wish you all well. I wish you, I think Knight & Baker's a great company to work for. I think everything about it is good. Product, people, everything. I think the directors and everyone. Excuse me. The check's cleared. No, I wish you all the best, I really do. Thank you very much for all the gifts and the present and Jeff's speech and for coming today. It's brilliant. I've had a great time here. Thank you. There were a lot more stories, but he's got it on film, and
My hand's shaking.
I want them on Facebook. Thank you, thanks everyone. Thank you.
That's how